نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم اما بعد فاعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه الكريم اعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولا تقل لهما اف ولا تنهرهما صدق اللہ العظیم وصدق رسولہ النبی الامین المختار الکریم ونحن على ذلك لمن الشاہدین والشاکرین والحمد للہ رب العالمین۔ انتہائی محترم اور مکرم میرے بزرگوں، عزیز ساتھیوں، آئیے اپنے معمول کے مطابق آقائے نامدار، ہم سب کے تاجدار حضور خاتم المرسلین رحمت للعالمین صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کی بارگاہ میں اپنی غلامی کا ثبوت دیتے ہوئے مل کر درود پاک کا ہدیہ پیش کریں اور پڑھیں۔ اللہم صلی علی سیدنا و شفیعنا و مولانا محمد معدن الجود والکرم و آلہ و صحبہ وبارک وسلم صلاۃ و سلام علیک یا رسول اللہ صلی اللہ تعالی علیہ وسلم۔ اس سے پہلے کچھ جمعوں میں ہم نے قرآن و حدیث کی روشنی میں والدین کی اطاعت، والدین کی فرمانبرداری اور اپنے ماں باپ کو خوش کرنے کے حوالے سے جو فضیلتیں ہیں ان کو سمجھنے کی کوشش کی تھی۔ We tried to understand previously in couple of Jum'ahs that how important it is for a person with all these worldly affairs, everything in your life that you conduct and you go through and you spend your time in, within that how important it is to look after your parents and to carry out the obedience of your parents. In Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it very clear that after Tawheed and after believing in Rasulullah alayhi salatu wassalam, one of the greatest duties that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed upon you and I is to respect and to listen to the parents and look after them. What we are going to understand today, a couple of things. The first thing, if there is a person, as a son, as a daughter, they are not fulfilling this duty, what are the consequences? As well as a simplest thing that you do for your parents, how much reward they bring to you. And finally, we will also try to understand that when your parents make dua for you, whether it is a dua in terms of positive or bad dua in terms of negative dua, either of them and both of them, how do they impact in the life of a person? We'll try and understand that. To begin with, the ayah karima that I have recited, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He stated, وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفْ. You shouldn't say uff to them. Everything else is later. Everything else is beyond uff. Talking back, replying to them, shaking your shoulders. As I mentioned before, that Tafsir Jalalain, Sahib Tafsir Jalalain, he says that this means anything, any of your action, any of your words, any of your attitude that could make your parents upset, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it haram upon you to do so. کوئی بھی ایسا کام کہ جو والدین کو آپ کی بات ہو، آپ کا کام ہو، آپ کا ایٹیٹیوڈ ہو، کسی سے بھی اگر ماں باپ کو تکلیف پہنچتی ہے، اللہ تعالیٰ نے اس آیے کریمہ کی روشنی میں وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا اُف، اللہ نے اس کو منع فرما دیا، یہ حرام ہے تمہارے اوپر کہ اپنے والدین کو किसी भी तरह से तकलीफ पहुंचाओ. Many of the times, people do question in regards to certain behavior of the parents, and they're right to do so, because we are living in a country and in a society where, if you look around, you have many people who don't care about these relationships. As soon as they are 18, they are out of the house. What's happening with their parents? They don't care. Parents have no interference in their income, what they're earning, how they're living. Parents have no say. And because of that, the youth and those people who are young, they ask questions. What if my parents are being unfair with me? And the question is legit. Now you have two ways to deal with it. The first way, logically, what do you think you would do? If they are being unfair with you, are you going to leave them? Or are you going to fulfill the right that Allah has placed upon you to be good to them? Because what parents are doing to you, they will be questioned on the day of Qiyamah about that. Because they have rights in regards to their children. If parents are not fulfilling their rights, on the day of judgment, you won't be questioned. But you will be questioned any of your behavior, whether you are retaliating or whether you are behaving in certain manners because your parents did something. You will be questioned on the day of judgment. That you were supposed to fulfill your duty of being a kind, a good son or a daughter, regardless of what parents do. In a long hadith, a Sahabi was asking Rasulullah ﷺ certain questions, and he reaches to the point where a Sahabi said, Ya Rasulullah, what if my parents are zalim? You know what zalim mean? Your parents are, suppose they're not treating you well. Are you still going to fulfill their rights and respect them? Prophet said, even then you should respect your parents. As I said, because your behavior, you will be questioned on the day of judgment, and their treatment towards you, they will be questioned on the day of judgment. Therefore, Rasul Akram alayhi salatu wasalam, he made it quite clear. A very beautiful hadith, and you may have heard this hadith many times, but this hadith always brings this attitude that we have as a Muslim in this dunya. The way we are living our life and the way we are forgetting the akhirat. This hadith tells you about it. In Tirmizi Sharif, Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and in many other books of ahadith, in different words, this hadith has been mentioned. That Rasul Akram alayhi salatu wasalam, he was climbing on a mimbar. When he reached to the first step, he said Ameen. When he reached to the second, he said Ameen again. And on the third one, he said Ameen again. So 3 times, Prophet ﷺ, he repeated the same word, Ameen. When the khutbah completed, the companions, they questioned, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you said Ameen 3 times. Can you explain this to us? Could you let us know what was the reason for this Ameen? Imam at-Tirmidhi says in this narration, Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, he replied to the companion, and he said, when I was climbing on the mimbar, who came to me? Jibreel alayhi salam, he came to me. And he started making dua, and after each dua, he said to me, Ya Muhammad, qul Ameen, say Ameen. What were these duas? The first dua that Hazrat Jibreel made on the first step, Prophet says that Jibreel, he said this dua, that anybody who listens to your name and doesn't send salawat upon you, woe upon him. Destruction. May he be destroyed. And then he said, Ya Muhammad, say Ameen. Prophet said, I said Ameen. The second dua, on the second step, a person who finds the month of Ramadan, and when the month of Ramadan has passed, he still did not attain his forgiveness, that person would be destroyed. Prophet said Ameen. And the third dua that Jibreel alayhi salam made, it was on the third step when Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam climbed. Jibreel made dua that anyone who finds both of his parents or one of his parents in the old age and they do not become mean for him to go to the Jannah, then may he be destroyed. Prophet said, I said, Ameen. Now imagine, the first two, we are talking about the third dua. That Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam is making the dua. And Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam is saying Ameen on this dua. Now do you think this dua would ever be rejected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He changed the qibla of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam towards the Kaaba because He wished for it. So how can Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not accept the dua of His beloved Habib sallallahu alayhi wasallam? So there is a lesson for us that when a person disregards the rights of parents, when a person becomes the rebel against his parents, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not forgive that person. What is the ihsan of your parents upon you? How much favor they have done upon you, and can you ever repay? क्या कोई बंदा कभी अपने माँ बाप के एहसान को अपनी ज़िंदगी में चुका सकता है? Now listen to this hadith pak. Is Sahabi, Hazrat Salman ibn Burayda radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he narrates from his father, Hazrat Burayda. There was a person, and that person was in Makkatul Mukarramah, in front of Kaaba, carrying his mother and doing tawaf. Carrying his mother and doing tawaf. We have many brothers who take their old parents to Haramain Sharifain and they look after them, wheelchairs. This person was carrying his mother on his shoulders. When he completed his tawaf, he asked Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam that, Ya Rasulullah, have I fulfilled the right of my mother? क्या मैंने अपनी माँ का हक अदा कर दिया? क्योंकि मैंने उसको अपने कंधे पे बिठा के तवाफ कराया. एक रिवायत में है कि पूरी हज उसने अपने कंधे पे बिठा के कराई और उसके बाद सवाल किया. So listen to the answer of Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, he replied that one smile that your mother looked at you and smiled, you haven't even fulfilled the right of that much from your mother. तुम्हारी माँ ने एक मुस्कुराहट जो तुम्हारे लिए निकाली, इन तवाफ़ों के बाद तुमने उस एक मुस्कुराहट का हक भी अदा नहीं किया. So how can we think that by paying few bills you are fulfilling the rights of your parents? By taking little bit responsibility of your parents' shoulder, you are fulfilling their rights. As a human, we can never be able to fulfill the rights of our parents in our entire life. That's how much ihsan and favor they have done upon us. What can you do then? Everything possible to make them happy. If it makes them happy to go out, walk with them for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, do that. Take them out. If it makes them happy to take them in the park once a week and sit with them, talk to them, do so. Make them happy in whichever possible way, as long as it is not against the Sharia, do it. Many of the times, and it does happen, there are people, they have habit of going out to eat. What happens mostly, husband, wife, children, they are going out to eat. Parents are staying at home. It does happen. And I'm not saying that you don't take them out. But again, do you really realize that maybe this might make them little bit upset? Yes, you can have your own time. But the way you make time for your family, children and wife, you do have to take time out for your parents as well. Take out a day. That today, I'm going to take my parents out. If this makes them happy, then this is greater than performing nafl ibadat. Nafl actions, this is greater than that. One of the other way, make dua for your parents. Many of us, we make dua for ourselves, for everyone and anyone. Quran has taught us that make dua for your parents. رَبَّنَا غْفِرْ لِي وَلِوَالِدَيَّ. Allah, forgive me and forgive my parents. A hadith pak, beautiful one. Hazrat Darda radiyallahu ta'ala anha, she narrates. And she quotes that Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam stated, when a mu'min, when a Muslim makes dua for his brother behind his back. Suppose there's Munaf Bhai sitting here. I know him. I make dua for him behind his back. He doesn't even know. This way, when you make dua for someone behind their back, they don't know you made dua for them. What happens? Rasulullah Akram alayhi salatu wasalam, he stated in Muslim Sharif, this hadith you can find, there is an angel. That angel, with that person's dua, he says that what you have asked for your brother, may Allah give you the same. You as a human making dua for your brother, and that angel is giving you the dua in the same way that you are making dua for your brother. कि जब आप किसी की पीठ के पीछे दुआ करते हैं तो फिर फरिश्ता रब की बारगाह में अर्ज़ करता है कि अल्लाह इसे उतना ही दे जितना इसने अपने भाई के लिए मांगा है. And then Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam stated that that person, he will get it. The dua will be accepted and he will get it. And that angel at the end of the dua, he says Ameen. वो फरिश्ता उसकी दुआ के ख़त्म होने पर आमीन कहता है. Now this example is for anyone, just a normal person, you make dua for them behind their back, Allah gives you exactly the same. Imagine behind your parents' back when you are making dua for them. How much reward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bestow upon you. Another hadith pak, if you don't get time to sit with your parents, if you do not have time to listen to your parents, if you do not have time to spend with them, then listen to this hadith pak of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam stated in this hadith, Sayyidina Ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu is the narrator, that when a person, he looks at his parents with love, with rahmat, with mercy, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants him the reward of one hajj mabrur, a complete accepted hajj. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards him with that. Only once you're looking at your parents with love and smile. Now Sahaba, they were eager to know how much reward can we gain. So the companion, they questioned, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what if a person in a day looks at his parents with love 100 times? Imagine one hajj. Many of us, we haven't been for hajj. Many of us, we may have been only once and we may not get chance ever again. So Sahaba question, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what if there is a person 100 times he looks at his parents with love in a day? That means, is he going to get the reward of 100 hajj mabrur in a day? Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam replied to the companion and he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is greatest. He is the greatest. That means you and I can run out of the resources of rewarding people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not run out of rewarding you. For whatever you do, Allah will reward you. What does this mean? You look at your parents once, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you the reward of one hajj mabrur. Now again, the question might come in your mind that many of us, we are parents. Many of us may have very young children and our parents are still alive. What do we expect from our children? If you have young children, what do you want them to grow as? The first thing that comes in our mind, I want them to be on the path of Islam. Every parent's desire is that. The second thing that we may have in our hearts and minds, that I want my child to respect me and look after me. Now, how can this happen? The simplest way, you start to teach your children from their young age, by respecting your own parents, by showing them the way and the method how to look after your parents, how to respect them, how to treat them. When you will show them, your young children from the young age, they will learn from you. And what they will learn from you, it will be in their hearts and their mind forever. When you will be old, they will remember, my dad used to do this for my dada or grandfather. My mom used to do this for my grandmother. All of these things, they will remember. Children's memory. Imagine when there are two parents, they are fighting and their children are young. Do you think children don't really care? It affects them mentally. Whatever they see from you, the way they see you treating each other, the way they see you treating your own parents, it is not far away that when you will be old, you will be treated the same way. Whether you are married or not. Rasulullah ﷺ in one hadith pak, he mentioned, Sayyidina Abu Huraira radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he says that there are three people whose du'as are never rejected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are three people whose dua Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always accepts. Now Allah is, He is the one who accepts every dua and any dua that He wills. But here, categorically, Rasulullah ﷺ mentioned three qualities and three people. The first one, Prophet said, Da'watul Mazlum. When an oppressed person makes dua, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not reject this dua. The second one, Da'watul Musafir. When you are a traveler, Shara'i Musafir, you're going for Umrah, you're going Pakistan, you're going India, wherever you're going. When you are Shara'i Musafir, on your journey when you make dua, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts that dua. And the third one, Rasulullah ﷺ stated, Da'watul Walidi ala waladihi. When a father, he makes dua for his children, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He accepts that dua. Many of the time we provide everything for our children. Any necessities, any need, any desires they have. Because we have resources, we can fulfill all of those desires and needs. We do that. But many of the time we forget to make dua for them. When we make dua for everyone else, as a father, as a mother, as parents, we should make dua for our children's righteousness and well-being. If your parents are unhappy, what kind of duas you will get? You can see from there. I'll mention a narration. It's a long narration. I'll give you in few words, inshallah. Sahih Muslim. A long story has been mentioned that there was a person in Bani Israel. His name was Jurayj. And Jurayj was very pious. All the time he used to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He had isolated himself and he was living in jungle. One day, his mother comes to him. This is for those brothers and those sisters who are too much into deen, too much into workaholic people. Some people, they worried about their career, 40 and they are not married. 45 and they think, I'm not ready yet because I'm worried about my career. This mother comes to see Jurayj. His mother comes to see him. She calls him from outside and he was praying namaz. So he thought, I'll complete my namaz and then I'll go and see my mother. By the time he finished his namaz, his mother was gone. And then Imam Muslim says, this happened 3 times. The mother came 3 times and all 3 times he was praying namaz. Now namaz is ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imagine, nobody can stop you from praying salah. But he was doing all those extra ibadat, pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, pleasing the Creator, pleasing the Lord. But he disregarded the call of his mother. On the 3rd time, when the mother was leaving, she made a bad dua. And she said, may Allah keep you alive till you see the face of an evil woman. Evil woman. She meant prostitute. In that jungle there was a woman and she was that kind. Once she committed adultery, she got pregnant, and she accused Jurayj of being the father of that child. Now people came running. They got him, they beat him up. All of his respect was gone. All of his izzat was gone. But then because he was worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the dua of that mother was very limited and specific, what happened? Jurayj commanded the child to speak, that who is your father? And the child spoke, that my father is so and so, not Jurayj. That's how he was saved. Sayyidina Abu Huraira radiallahu ta'ala anhu states that if the mother had made any more dua for that person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have accepted the dua and he would have been destroyed. Therefore, the life goes on. The time doesn't wait for you. Your parents wouldn't wait for you. When there is death for them, they will go. When they are gone, how are you going to fulfill these rights? Take this opportunity whilst they are alive. Make dua for them. Keep them happy. Do whatever you can in your hands and in your capacity to keep them happy and to please them for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah keep you and I on the right path, and may Allah keep your parents, those who are alive, in good health. Ameen. Wa ma alayna illa al-balagh. Assalamu alaikum.